The Big Ten's 24-team playoff proposal is finally gaining traction. USC will finally get into the playoff under Lincoln Riley. On today's Locked On Big Ten Squad.
You're talking ball with the Big Ten Squad, sponsored by Game Time. From USC to Ohio State, from Michigan to Oregon, from Nebraska to Washington, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big Ten weekend. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up, you're part of the Big Ten Squad.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to this week's Locked On Big Ten Squad. I'm your host, Spencer McLaughlin, neutral arbiter of all things college football. This thing behind me is just some artifact that I picked up. Isaiah Hull of Locked On Wolverines is here with Mark Holkin of Locked On USC, Jay Stevens, Locked On Buckeyes, Nick Arvin, Locked On Boilermakers. His team's win total is first because it's at the bottom of the Big Ten again. And Roman Tomashoff of Locked On Huskies. So since we've started on a note where any USC fans that didn't already hate my guts are definitely in that camp now, which I changed in a 20-second intro. Mark, why don't you weigh in first? This Big Ten notion of a 24-team playoff was discussed recently in Washington, D.C. It appears to have traction beyond just the Big Ten. So is this the right move for college football to double the playoff access?
No, it's not. Even if it benefits USC, you don't need. Look, you go to 24 teams. Why don't we just start doing the 64 team, 68 team big dance type of thing and get rid of the regular season? Also, another reason why I say no. If this is the direction we're going, why is USC and Notre Dame not playing each other? I mean, that was part of the rationale, right? So, no, take this 2014 thing. If you're going to expand it, go to 16, put the cap on it, put it to bed. We're done.
Well, maybe it'll bring it back. Maybe that'll be the reason that it brings it back. I don't know. Michigan plays Oklahoma again this year, Isaiah. So 24, 12, 14 playoff. They're scheduling the way that any team or program of a respectable nature actually should. No Penn State's here. Seiko isn't here, at least not yet. On the show, but you like the 24 team idea, and we have 8 and 4 Big Ten teams scrapping their way into the playoff.
Listen, I have a better idea. There's 136, I think, FBS teams. It should be a 136 team playoff, right? Like,
sudden death every week.
Yeah.
Every week is the
now
playoff.
we're talking.
Then Purdue would make it in.
I think. Oh, I don't know about that. That's going a little too far. Gotta have an FBS play in. I just feel like college football had the absolute best regular season. It was a playoff in and of itself. 4 of the 6 of us here can vouch how special the 4-team playoff was. No, sorry, Mark. Sorry, Nick. But it meant something. Like the regular season meant something. The playoff meant something. So to dilute it the way that they have already, it just shows like they do not care about what makes college football great, because now the regular season, it's like, you can lose one. Before it was like, you lost one, maybe you still have a chance. Now it's like, you can lose 2, maybe you might even be able to lose 3. If you get to 24, it's like, lose 4 games, it's all good.
Who cares? I mean, when Michigan plays Oklahoma, if you had a 24-team playoff, you could literally come out of that game going, all right, nothing changes. No one cares. Jay, all I've heard so far are sharp takes from the Big Ten squad. You're next.
I don't know how sharp it'll be. I want to join the rest of the guys.
Be as sharp as that breath we all heard you take before you started talking.
But my goodness, man, I don't like the 24 team. I don't think most of us like it. I think getting Congress involved is also pretty stupid. It's silly, but that's where we are with the people that are running the sport. And I wish it was different. I really do, but I don't see it changing anytime soon.
No, because, someone will make the point, well, the FCS playoffs do it. They've got 24, which means, absolutely nothing. But you know who I bet's going to be most in favor of this? Our guy, Nick Arvin, Locked On Boilermakers. Fire up for the 12-team playoff. Right? Boiler up for the 24-team playoff.
Yeah, I think we should expand it past 24. Anything it takes to get Barry Odom into into the playoffs. But no, on a serious note, I don't like the idea of 24 games. Much like Isaiah said, every game in the regular season becomes more and more meaningless. The more teams that you throw into the playoffs as it is now, I don't necessarily love the 12-team playoff. I miss when undefeated. If you lose one game, it feels catastrophic to your playoff chances. Now you can get in with 2, 3, and as you guys mentioned, maybe 4. So I don't like the idea of 24. I don't think that's good for the sport. And honestly, if we keep it at 12, that's kind of fine. But I prefer the old 4-team format.
Roman, I'm going to do the unthinkable and throw your fans a little bit of a bone here, since I already ostracized myself to Mark's fan base. Yeah, I am. Watch this. The quintessential example, or a quintessential example, of why a 2014 playoff would be a complete and utter mess is back in 2023. Oregon and Washington played an epic, albeit crushingly disappointing football game in
I disagree
Seattle.
with that part.
Anyway, then Oregon had to win every single game the rest of the year. And then when they came to play in the Pac-12 championship game, you knew they had to win that game. And if there had been no stakes in that Pac-12 title game, like a 2014 playoff, I would think predates or would coincide with an elimination of conference championship games, because that doesn't make any sense.
None.
But as much as that was a disappointing day, if that second game had no juice, or frankly the first game had no juice to it, because, well, if you lose, who cares? For the sake of college football, that would have stunk.
That would have been the worst thing in the world. Like that, both of those atmospheres were electric. I remember like just the pulse of Seattle the week leading up to that Pac-12 championship game was electric. The ending of that game, the ending of the first one, even more electric. Spencer, I know you disagree, but I really don't care. All of that aside, I can't get one specific picture out of my head. We're all sports fans here. We all like sports outside of college football as well. When you look at the standings, when you look at anything about, where me being a baseball fan, right? If I'm looking at where the Red Sox are and I'm looking at the standings like, oh yeah, okay, they're in 4th in the AL East. This is ridiculous. If you look at the top 25 in college football and all of a sudden the cutoff moves from 12 to 24 and it's like, oh, all of these teams are in the playoff. Yeah. Jay Spencer. No, that would be so ridiculous. Imagine trying to explain that to somebody who doesn't like the sport and they're just looking at it like, oh, all these teams are the best and they're like every single one of them is going to get a chance. Like, no, there's no fun in that. That's ridiculous. I know it's simple, and Spencer, you do make some great points. I just can't get that image out of my head.
Yeah, let me give you a list of teams that would have been, without question, in the playoff last year. Now, the group of 6 team is not. Actually, no, Tulane was number 20, so they would have been in. Vanderbilt would have been in. I mean, they're a good team, sure. Utah would have been in. USC would have been in. Arizona would have been in. Michigan would have been in. Virginia would have been in. Tulane would have been in. Houston would have been in. And Georgia Tech would have been in. Iowa would have been heavily considered probably in. I don't know how anyone thinks this is a good idea. The problem, though, honestly, is that it'll make money. Because we'll watch, right? We got to talk about something.
We will watch.
We got to. Yeah, we'll be there. Speaking of being there, Craig Sheeman decided, the squad show, I'll be there. It's only 11 minutes after it started. Don't worry. Why can I not move him to last place? Okay, yeah. There we go. We're going to talk about something far more sane when we get back. And Nick is going up into position number 1 because the Boilermakers are the first team we've all got to take a stance on. That's right. We're close enough to start making our weekly predictions for over-under win totals here on the Locked On Big Ten Squad, which is brought to you by our friends over at Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill still sitting open when the pressure's on and you need the right hire. This is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. Things like skills, experience, location, so you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. Here is a stat that says it all. In the minute, that I've been talking to you. Companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed. Good number of golf holes to play in a day, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support the show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Nick.
Yes.
We are not talking basketball here. Just got to get you out of that frame of mind.
Okay.
Reset the expectations. Our friends at FanDuel have put out win totals for every Power 4 team in college football and Notre Dame. And Notre Dame actually has tied for the highest in the country that you can have at 11.5. It may shock you to learn, if you didn't know, Nick, Purdue's win total is not 11.5.
I'm not shocked.
Which is a surprise to everyone across the country who's never tuned into college football before. That is a stunning revelation. 3.5 for Barry Odom in year 2 is the win total. Make the case. Over or under?
You know, I think it's spot on. I look at the schedule, but I think 4. If I had to predict, if I had to go up and down the schedule, hot take. I see 4 wins this year in year 2 of the Barry Odom era. And let me tell you why. Because we start out with Indiana State. That's a win. If that's a loss,
we think it's a win.
We're not going to go there. Dunk? We're not going to go there. That's a
Is that a Zach Edey slam dunk, or is that like Braden Smith trying to throw it down?
Let me give you. I think it's kind of in the middle there, like a Carson Edwards type, like little forward, guard forward type slam dunk. But I still think that's a nice little win for the Boilermakers. But you got Wake Forest, which will probably be a loss. The game is in West Lafayette, but they came off a solid year last year. The road schedule is really tough for Purdue this year. You go travel to Illinois, you travel to Happy Valley, you travel to go play Iowa, and then you have Indiana, as always, which this year will probably be another loss. I do think Minnesota and Maryland are games that Purdue could potentially win this year. And then you throw in Iowa, Wisconsin. I mean, these aren't games that I necessarily think that Purdue is a lock to win, but if things go their way, they have a good shot. Definitely going into last year, it's a similar roster construction from the fact that Purdue had to bring in a ton of guys in the transfer portal because everyone else left after a terrible season. Purdue hasn't won a conference game in over 2 years at this point, so it makes sense why guys are leaving. But when I look at this team compared to last year, I think that the guys that Barry Odom was able to bring in the transfer portal was actually better adapted to fit the system he's trying to build in terms of bringing in Jarrett Gibson, running back out of Texas, bringing in some solid offensive linemen, 2 from Mark School, 2 from USC, Nuku Mafi from Oklahoma State. So you have actual size on the offensive line this year. You have a better running back group.
It's a very sad way to put it. You have actual size on the offensive line.
It's the reality of the situation. We had a bunch of UNLV guys last year. So you've got that. Ryan Browne, I don't think he threw 10 interceptions, 9 touchdowns last year, which
is that good?
That is not good, Spencer, in case you're wondering. So
I was.
Okay. Well, you bring him back. So I think that he's going to be in a better situation to succeed this year with a heavier running attack. We'll see. I think 4 wins is a nice little threshold for the Boilermakers this year.
Yeah. We need to have a punishment for the Locked On host whose team loses to Purdue first. So
I'm down for that.
We gotta brainstorm collectively and figure out. We've got most of these shows covered. We've got UCLA, we've got Illinois. We don't have Minnesota or Maryland at the moment, but we've got Washington Romans here, Seiko at Penn State. Oh my gosh, if you won at Penn State, that'd
be great. What can we get Seiko to do?
I'd have to. I need to think long and hard to understand what the perfect punishment would be. Mark, is it a relief that USC is not a threat to be Purdue's first conference win in 2 years?
Yeah, we got that monkey off our back last year. We actually.
I mean, it was close.
I do want to give some props to Nick because He went through his entire schedule, and not once did he mention UCLA. So good job, young man there.
I don't know. On the road, that's kind of tough for me, but yeah.
Well, I'm looking at your schedule, and I think I can agree with you. 4 is probably the target to hit, because even though we're throwing you a couple, offensive linemen to help you out, you still need some more. Like 4 wins. I could see Indiana State. I could see you pulling a
You can see it.
I could see you pulling a modest upset at home against Wake Forest. Maybe you go on a run and you beat UCLA, but after that, Maryland? Is that your last win of the season?
Probably.
Maybe.
Probably at that point. I mean,
I think 4 is a great number for Purdue football and Barry Odom's second year.
It would be good.
I mean, honestly, it's just like, how many wins can you get without Barry Odom being fired? I feel like is the goal for this season. For
you
Purdue.
can't put that short of a clock on him, can you?
Ryan Walters got 2 years.
They did on
Exactly.
Walters.
Yeah, and that was a bit. I mean,
But it sets a
I
terrible
think that
precedent.
move worked out pretty well.
I just
I
realized
think
why
that
Roman
worked out
chimed in
great.
there.
But it sets a terrible precedent if you fire 2 coaches in a row 2 years
Yeah.
in. But, I mean, you also have to say Ryan Walters was fired after that type of season. If Barry Odom has 2 types of those seasons, I mean, the standard was already set with Walters. So, in my opinion, the goal is not a bowl game. The goal is just don't let your head coach get fired this year, which is kind of a sad spot to be. To be
Yeah,
honest.
just trying
depressing.
to hold you over till basketball season, right? Till Matt
Dang
Painter.
near. Dang
So Matt
near.
Painter can get it working. Roman, your Huskies host. No, sorry, they travel
going out
to
there.
West
Go out
Lafayette on October 17th. Some are calling that the upset alert of the season in the Big Ten. I think if Jed
I'll wait
Fish
for Nick
loses,
to make that pick.
if Jed Fish loses that game, he's tarmacked, right?
I would absolutely think so. Nick, I'm sorry. I have the under here. I cannot
Really?
in good conscience put myself behind this team after having to watch that in person last year. Obviously, yes, there have been improvements made through the portal and so on and so forth. I was not impressed by Ryan Browne. I was not impressed by a lot of what this roster looked like in Seattle was an oddly chippy game. And I don't know if that was a Ryan Walters thing. I don't know if that was a Brian Odom thing, since Barry Odom's brother coaches at Washington too. But I look at Indiana State and yeah, all right, I'll give you that. The only other game that I look at on this schedule and say, okay, yeah, I feel good about Purdue maybe pulling off a win there is Minnesota. I think that Maryland is going to give some people some problems this year. I look up and down the schedule and I can't do it, man. I got to take the under here.
The disrespect that PJ Fleck takes on this show, all he does is win 7 to 9 games every single year in this conference and gets no respect anywhere at any point in time. Roman, I, first of all, didn't realize that Purdue is a coaching farm system for Washington.
They call Washington the Purdue of the West.
Do not do that.
Purdue
That's what they
West.
say.
They're thinking about renaming Husky Stadium to Boiler
State.
Stadium. Yeah. But no, I was actually looking at Wisconsin here. Our poor guy Ryan Herrings at Locked On Badgers. They might have an interim coach at that point in the season. Like he might not be there to coach the game. Wisconsin might have thrown in the towel. And even if I consider that as a possibility, I still don't know where 4 wins come. It might come down to the Wake Forest game. And I tell you what,
those interim coaches could be inspiring. Wisconsin would win that game.
that's true. That's true. We've still got 3 more picks. Will anyone except Nick go for over 3.5? That's coming up next. Jay, your turn. Do you dare take Purdue over 3.5? Outside of, you don't have Oregon, you don't have Ohio State, and somehow this looks like the toughest schedule that could have possibly been made when you have non-conference games against Wake Forest, who won 9 games last year, and Notre Dame, who's a national title contender.
I am not crazy enough, that is, to pick the over in this scenario. You better beat Indiana State. You do not want to leave that game with a loss, because that'd be really bad. The whole state will boo Purdue. But after that, Wisconsin, maybe. Minnesota, Maryland. I think Minnesota's going to be a loss. Maryland, maybe because I don't like the coach. I don't trust him. So I think Loxley at that point, he could also be out of there. They could have an interim coach, and you're not sure what's going to happen there. I just don't trust this team. I think having a returning quarterback is going to be very helpful, but they could have less wins this year than they had last year. And of course, if you have only one win, Barry Odom's gone.
Yeah, that would not be good. By the way, Roman, can I just throw this at you? Washington was like that close to losing to Maryland last year.
That's it. Hey, that Maryland team has got some real talent. I don't know about Mike Loxley either. I agree with Jay there, but they got some good pass rushers, man.
That's true. They do have Zion
and a talented quarterback.
Isaiah, are you? Oh wait, did they miss Michigan as well? Oh, they miss Michigan.
They did.
How about that? No Oregon, no Ohio State, no Michigan,
And no wins.
Come on, Craig.
The ghost of Larry
No
Bird
lies
is
detected.
going to haunt you home like at the end of Haunted Mansion. Isaiah understands that reference. The rest of you, TBD. Isaiah, 3.5. Thank you. Good. 3.5 over under Boilermakers.
Listen, I mean, you look at the schedule and you just think, like, what would it be like if Purdue could get a win? And I'm like, wow, imagine if they beat Indiana State in that first game. And just the feeling in West Lafayette, if they're able to get that and just, no, they're not. I have utmost respect for Barry Odom. I don't know that you fire him, right? Like Ryan Walters was the one who kind of cratered everything, right? So it was a little bit different, right? They were coming off of a Big Ten championship game appearance, and it just kind of went completely backwards. So it's a little bit different. Barry Odom has done wonders at Mizzou, at UNLV. I don't know that he can do it at Purdue. I think that they need a little bit of a change in terms of just the culture, which I didn't really witness last year. I mean, they played Michigan extremely tough, more so Michigan just couldn't get out of its own way. And, I'm on the field after the game, and you would have thought that Purdue had won the game the way that they were talking to Michigan players. They're like, they're going up to them.
Wait, really?
Face. Yes. They're getting in their face and being like, you're going to get waxed next week and all this stuff like that. It was like,
It's crazy.
That's awesome.
they had to be separated at the end of the game. It was
Wow.
It was a bizarre. So like, until they can take themselves seriously, I don't know that this team's going particularly far. So,
Craig,
I mean-
our Big Ten arbiter here, are you going to try and salvage the honor of the Boilermakers football program? Which, Isaiah, correct me if I'm wrong, was the last team Michigan played in the Big Ten championship game?
no, they played Iowa.
Iowa,
Yeah.
that's right. But Purdue was the year before?
Mhm.
Yes, the age of divisions. That made no sense. Anyway, go ahead, Craig.
Nick, I'm gonna tell you what I told my kids when they're small. Earmuffs, just check out here so you don't hear the bad words. 3.5. Are you kidding me? I can't think of a program in the entire Big Ten that has less excitement than Purdue football going into this year. If they get 2 wins, it's a successful year. I'm thinking, Northwestern's been bowling 2 of the last 3 years. They got a new stadium. Rutgers, Greg Schiano's good for 5 to 7 wins every single year. I don't know how he does it, but he'll do it. Purdue, I'm thinking about going live on Locked On Big Ten for postgame November 7th after this Maryland-Purdue game. That could be for all the marbles for both of these teams. I got them at 2 wins, and that's best case scenario. Sorry, Purdue.
Oh, everyone but Nick taking the under. Nick, is Ryan Browne? Wait, what was the interception ratio? Not touchdown
10 to
interception?
9. Well, 9 to 10.
9 to 10.
Interceptions.
Yeah, 10 to 9 would have been
McNamara
also.
ratio.
Here's the thing: 10 to 9 would have been also terrible, but the reality is worse. That's not great. Nick, you can have the final say here. That feels like the most just way to end this show.
Yeah, I mean, at least we won a Big Ten title in basketball. So I'll leave with that.
Perfect. Nick Garvin, Locked On Boilermakers. Mark Colkin, Locked On USC. Roman Tomashoff, Locked On Huskies. Jay Stevens, Locked On Buckeyes. Isaiah Hole, Locked On Wolverines. Craig Sheeman, Locked On Big Ten. I'm Spencer McLaughlin from Locked On Wherever. I appreciate everyone listening. We'll see you next time. And until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.